Every day, millions of people open a dating app. They scroll through photos, they read profiles, they think they know who they're talking to. But here's the thing nobody tells you. The person on the other side of that screen is not always who they say they are. These are 4 real stories. 4 people who thought they were going on a date. What happened instead changed their lives forever. His name was Jake. He was just an ordinary guy. Nothing special about his life, nothing that would make you think he was the kind of person bad things happened to. Then, he downloaded Bumble. He matched with a girl named Rachel. Her profile was completely normal. She worked in marketing, she liked hiking, her photos showed a real person, laughing with friends, standing on a mountain trail, sitting in a coffee shop. They'd talked for about a week. No strange messages, no red flags, no weird vibes. If anything, she seemed almost too normal, too refreshing. She didn't push for anything. She wanted to take things slow. Jake thought, finally, someone genuine. They agreed to meet on a Wednesday night. She picked the restaurant, a quiet place in a part of town Jake didn't usually go to, a little nicer than his usual spots, but nothing that made him uncomfortable. He drove there, he parked, he texted her to say he had arrived. She didn't reply. He figured maybe she was driving, maybe her phone was on silent. He walked inside and stood near the hostess stand. 5 minutes passed, then 10. He texted again. Nothing. 15 minutes. 20. He could feel people glancing at him. A man standing alone, checking his phone every 30 seconds. The hostess had already asked him twice if he wanted a table. He told her he was waiting for someone. She checked the reservations. No one named Rachel had booked a table. Jake's stomach dropped a little. He told himself maybe she just forgot to make a reservation. Maybe she was running late. Maybe her phone had died. He waited. 25 minutes. Almost 30. He was done waiting. He grabbed his jacket and started walking toward the door. That's when it happened. A man walked into the restaurant. He looked to be in his mid-40s, scruffy beard, a little overweight, wearing a black hoodie. He stepped inside, looked around the room for exactly 2 seconds, and then walked straight toward Jake. Like he already knew exactly who he was looking for. Jake felt something shift inside him, something cold and instinctive. He said yes. The man smiled, not warmly, and said he was Rachel's brother. He explained that Rachel had suddenly fallen sick, bad stomach. She couldn't make it to the restaurant, but she really wanted to see Jake. She didn't want to cancel, so she had asked her brother to come pick Jake up and bring him back to their place, which was apparently only a few blocks away. Jake stood there processing every word. He asked the most obvious question: why didn't Rachel just text him herself? The man didn't even blink. Her phone died, she felt terrible about it, she really wants to see you. Jake looked at him. Something wasn't right. He couldn't name it. He couldn't point to any single thing, but something in his chest was telling him, this is wrong. He asked for the address, said he'd walk there himself. The man shook his head, said the sidewalks were icy, said it was easier to just drive, said the car was right outside. Jake said he'd rather reschedule and turned toward the door. The man stepped in front of him. It wasn't aggressive. He didn't grab Jake. He didn't raise his voice. He just stepped forward, just enough to fill the space between Jake and the exit. He said Rachel would be upset. He said she specifically asked him to bring Jake. He said it would only take a few minutes. Jake looked him dead in the eyes and said, "I'll text her later." The man stared at him. 5 full seconds of silence. Then he slowly stepped aside, and in a voice that was far too calm, far too quiet, he said, "Have a good night." But it didn't sound like a farewell. It sounded like a threat. Jake walked out, fast. He didn't look back. He got to his car, locked the doors immediately, and sat there for a moment just breathing. As he pulled out of the parking lot, he looked in the rearview mirror. The man was standing outside the restaurant, arms at his sides, watching Jake's car until it disappeared into the dark. Jake drove home and tried to convince himself it was nothing. Maybe the guy was just awkward. Maybe Rachel really was sick. Maybe he had overreacted. Then, at 11 p.m., a message arrived from Rachel's Bumble account. "Why didn't you come?" Jake replied immediately. He explained everything: the man, the restaurant, the offer to drive him somewhere. There was a long pause on the other end. Then Rachel typed back, "I don't have a brother." Jake read those words 4 times. His hands went cold. He typed back asking what she meant, asking who that man was, asking if she was okay. She never responded again. At 1 a.m., the security alerts started. Someone was trying to log into his email, then his bank account, then his Instagram. By morning, Rachel's Bumble profile had completely vanished. No trace, no account, nothing. Then the texts began. Unknown numbers, different ones every time. "We saw you. You made it harder for yourself." One message used his full legal name, his first name, his last name, written out completely. Jake had never shared his last name with anyone on that app. That night, there was a knock at his apartment door. He got up slowly, walked to the door, put his eye to the peephole. No one was there. But he heard it. Footsteps. Heavy, slow, deliberately slow, walking away down the stairwell. A week passed. Jake barely slept. Then one morning, he found something outside his apartment door. An envelope. Inside was a single photograph, printed on plain paper. It was Jake, standing in the restaurant lobby, looking down at his phone, taken from outside, through the window, without him ever knowing. Someone had been watching him the entire time, standing outside, in the cold, in the dark, watching through the glass. Jake turned the photo over. 2 words, written in black ink. You. He had just turned 30. He downloaded Hinge and matched with a girl named Rebecca. Real photos, normal profile, she seemed genuine. They agreed to meet at an arcade bar on Friday night. He arrived a few minutes early and immediately felt something was off. It was Friday night. The kind of night that bar should have been packed. Loud music, full tables, people everywhere. But the parking lot was nearly empty. The bar was almost dead. He went inside anyway, found a spot near the entrance, ordered a drink, waited. Then his phone buzzed. It was Rebecca. Her car had broken down. She had parked behind the bar. Could he come help? He tried to picture where behind the bar actually was. He had parked in front. He had walked past the side of the building. Behind the bar was nothing. No parking spaces, no road, just dumpsters, a chain-link fence, and beyond that, dark trees, woods. He called her number. Straight to voicemail. He stood there, staring at his phone. Then another message came. Please come around back. I really need help with the car. Every single alarm bell in his body went off at once. He didn't move. He stood completely still and thought about what was waiting for him behind that building. Dumpsters, a fence, woods, no witnesses, no cameras, no people. He typed back one sentence. This doesn't feel right. I'm leaving. He walked to his car, got in, started the engine. He was barely out of the parking lot when he saw them in his headlights. Two men, ski masks, running full speed from behind the building directly toward his car. He slammed the accelerator. The car launched forward. He heard something hit the back of the vehicle, hard, like a rock or a bat. And then he was on the road, driving fast, hands shaking on the wheel. When he got home, he got out and checked the car. There was a large dent across the trunk. He stood there in the dark, looking at that dent, and thinking about what would have happened if he had walked behind that building. He never found out who Rebecca really was. He never went to that bar again. And he never, not once, answered a message asking him to meet somewhere he couldn't see. Story 3. Michael. This one is slower, more personal, more painful. Like watching something innocent slowly become a nightmare. She was 24 years old, living with 3 friends, studying for one of the most important exams of her life. She was exhausted, she was stressed, she was lonely. So she started talking to someone online. His name was Michael. From the very first message, Michael was different. He was warm, he was funny. He remembered details she mentioned in passing. Her favorite tea, the name of her cat, the exam subject she struggled with most. He checked in on her every morning. He stayed up late talking to her when she couldn't sleep. For the first time in months, she felt like someone actually cared. But there was one thing that bothered her. He never showed his face. Every time she suggested a video call, he had an excuse. His phone had been stolen. His laptop camera was broken. The lighting was bad. He wasn't feeling well. Always something. She told herself it was fine. Not everyone was comfortable on camera. She didn't want to pressure him. But weeks passed, then months, and something in her gut started to speak up. One night, she asked him directly, "Are you who you say you are?" The conversation went quiet for a long time. Then slowly, he told her the truth. His name was not Michael. The photos he had been sending belonged to a real man, an influencer from Indonesia who had no idea his images were being used. Everything she thought she knew about him, his face, his job, his life, was completely fabricated. Every single thing. She felt the floor drop out from under her. Months of conversations, months of trust, months of opening up to someone she thought was real. All of it a performance, a lie constructed piece by piece. She tried to end things immediately. That's when his personality changed completely. The warmth disappeared. The kindness vanished. What replaced it was cold, calculated manipulation. He threatened her. He said things designed to make her feel small, guilty, afraid. Eventually, she managed to cut contact. She blocked him everywhere she could find him. She tried to move on. Months passed. She thought it was over. Then, one afternoon, her Instagram lit up with a new message. No greeting, no words, just a photo. The front of her house, her door, her windows, her street. Taken from close by, recently. Her parents weren't home. She was alone. Then she heard it, a knock at the front door. Then her name called out loud from the other side, again and again, getting louder each time. She grabbed her phone and called the police. Her hands were shaking so badly she almost dropped it. Officers arrived within minutes. They found him outside. When they searched him, he was carrying a knife.
This last story is the one that stays with you longest. Not because of what happened, but because of that one moment, that one whispered sentence. He matched with a girl named Jenna on Hinge. She had thousands of followers on Instagram. Her photos looked real, well lit, natural, the kind of profile that doesn't feel staged. He looked through her page carefully. Something was strange. She followed hundreds of accounts, but not a single one of them was a woman. Every account, every single one, men only. He told himself maybe it was just a coincidence. Maybe she just happened to follow more men. It wasn't exactly a crime. They agreed to meet at a bar that same night. Quick and simple, just a casual first drink. He arrived, he found a seat, he ordered something, he waited. A few minutes later, a man sat down on a stool right beside him. He introduced himself as Rob and immediately started talking. Not in a friendly, natural way, in a pushy, relentless way. Questions that came too fast, a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes, a closeness that felt deliberate, like he was testing how uncomfortable he could make someone before they said something. He tried to ignore it, kept checking his phone for Jenna, kept looking toward the entrance, but Rob kept talking and talking and talking. Eventually, he had enough. He put his phone in his pocket, finished his drink, and stood up to leave. The man grabbed his wrist. Not hard, but firmly, with intention. He turned around slowly. Rob was leaning forward on his stool. His face had changed. The smile was gone. His eyes were different now, focused, unblinking, completely still. He leaned in close, and in a low whisper he said, "I'm Jenna." He pulled his wrist free and walked out of that bar as fast as he could without running. He didn't look back, he didn't say anything, he just left. He got home, he locked every door, he sat on the edge of his bed and tried to process what had just happened. Around midnight, something slammed against his bedroom window. Hard, like a fist. He sat up, heart hammering, room completely dark. Then a voice from outside, saying his name over and over and over. Calm, patient, repeating. Like someone who had all the time in the world. He didn't move, he didn't make a sound. He sat in the dark and waited. After what felt like forever, it stopped. He didn't sleep that night. When the sun finally came up, he went to the window and looked outside. Everything looked normal. Empty street, quiet morning, but pressed flat against the outside of the glass was a folded piece of paper. He opened the window, took it carefully, unfolded it. 4 words. I'll be watching you. He moved out of that apartment within the week, and from that day forward, he never opened a dating app again. 4 stories. 4 people who thought they were just going on a date. They weren't the last. Every day, someone opens an app, creates a profile, types a message, and somewhere on the other side of that screen, someone is waiting. Not for a date, not for a connection. So the next time you match with someone who seems perfect, whose profile feels just right, whose messages say exactly what you want to hear, ask yourself one question. Do you really know who's on the other side?